Good morning, everyone. It's about 6:30 a.m. and I don't have to be to work for another hour and a half, but I had to get extra early to run Kiersey into work because she was scheduled at 5 for who knows what reason. So I'd like to try something a little different and just talk about something serious for a change. I'd also like to dedicate this video to mothers everywhere because the inspiration for it comes from an important mother figure in my life. And no, not my actual mother, Darth Ma, as she likes to be called when I'm recording. It's the mother of a close friend who, in high school, I became close as brothers with, and we basically got adopted into each other's families. So, what was the argument about? Why is it important? Well, it was about religion, but that's not the important part. The important part is what the argument says about respect. When we're kids, we're taught that respect means being honest and trusting and caring and not talking back. And while we're kids, without any real knowledge or life experience of our own to draw from, that's actually true. But as you get older, you approach a point in life that I like to call the age of reason, and where you'll find that holding your tongue is its own form of dishonesty, putting it kind of at odds with one of the other goals of showing respect. It's important for the sake of that point to realize where the line is drawn on that whole age of reason thing. It's not a hard number. It's not like you reach so many years old and you've achieved it. No, it's a stage of mental growth where you start to understand the reasons behind the things you disagree with instead of just disagreeing because they are in the way of what you want to do. At this point, you also realize that respect is supposed to go both ways. That people that you show respect to are supposed to show respect to you in return, but that can't happen if respect means blindly being obedient to someone that you're showing respect for. Different people reach this age of reason at different ages, and some people never reach it and instead grow up to be crazy conspiracy theorists, but that's okay. Society still functions with crazy out there. In any case, once you reach this age of reason yourself, you've been through enough in your life that you have the experience to understand where rules and traditions come from, and you start to form your own opinion about them. At that point, if you disagree with someone and don't say anything, it doesn't feel the same as holding your tongue to be respectful. Instead, it feels like you're blindly conceding to them despite feeling like you're starting to know better for yourself, all to avoid an argument or avoid being reprimanded. That results in bitterness that grows between you, that you might not even want to admit you feel, and neither of you learning anything about the subject that you're disagreeing upon. Eventually, that bitterness can grow to a point where you don't feel like you can ever talk honestly with that person again about anything if enough of these narrowly avoided arguments happen. And they never know whether your respectful silence means you are accepting and agreeing with what they've said, or merely want to avoid arguing or being reprimanded. So at that point, is it truly still respectful to keep quiet and not share your opinion? Your opinion could be wrong, so could theirs. Neither of you truly know. And while this generally is in reference to respecting your elders, they do have more experience than you at life, and so it's quite likely that they are the ones that are right, but neither of you know. And for situations like this, I've heard the cliche, agree to disagree, numerous times. But that route doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't serve to benefit anyone. Agreeing to disagree is fine for arguments based entirely on opinion, like favorite foods, colors, animals, whatever. But what about the topics that truly mean something? Matters of life, health, and death, like religion, politics, medical advice. I mean, if you're asking someone for medical advice, you're probably not going to be arguing with them, but let's stay on topic here. In regards to those topics, the agree-disagree solution merely breeds ignorance and prevents anyone from committing themselves to any growth as a person. When it comes to them points, I think it's more important that you actually argue, but rather that you argue respectfully instead of avoiding an argument. How does one argue respectfully? Well, there are like a lot of things out there to do or avoid that, depending upon your own traditions, your own culture, I guess I should say rather. But generally speaking, I think there are really only 3 rules here for how to argue respectfully. Avoid taking any kind of personal jabs at each other. You don't want to have your argument devolve into just name calling or mudslinging. That's what politicians do all the time, that we always get on them for, but never really withhold our votes or anything because of them doing. Because such jabs are completely irrelevant to the argument. They don't do anything to benefit either side. They just make one side look worse. And fun fact, it's not always the side being insulted that looks worse when mudslinging is done. Rule number 2 would be just to actually pay attention to the points made by each other, not to just wait for your turn to speak, but rather listen and actually take in what the other person is saying. And the 3rd rule is one that I've had trouble with in the past, is don't pretend you know more than you actually do to try winning an argument, because that's just you filling in a gap in your knowledge with some sort of nonsense that might not actually be accurate. And it's happened so many times in the past with me that I have learned my lesson by now, or I like to think I did. But yeah, the last thing you want to do with an argument is get so hung up on winning by proving you're right and they're wrong. Because truly winning an argument isn't a matter of who's right and wrong, but rather a matter of both people coming to an understanding. You still might not agree, but you understand each other's points, and you actually go away with some extra knowledge from having discussed it with someone else. I mean, and that can't be achieved if people stoop to taking cheap shots and with personal jabs and completely ignoring the other person's point, or making crap up to try and make their point. Anyway, that's just what I think. And I'm actually making a poll on Facebook to see if I can gather what my friends think on this topic. As for what you guys think, just let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to hear more thoughts on the matter. Thank you all for listening, and have a great day.